Malik never asked for the streets, but Jamal dragged him in with promises of fast money. Rico watched from the shadows, testing Malik's loyalty with every move, while Elena whispered that he still had a choice. At home, his mother prayed for peace, and little Naya looked up to a brother she didn't know was drowning. In Harlem, names like theirs didn't just live, they fought, bled, and carved their stories into the concrete. The city never slept. In Harlem, New York, nights were louder than the days. Sirens screamed across the avenues, gunshots cracked in the distance, and the yellow haze of streetlights spilled across graffiti-covered walls. The air smelled of cheap liquor, smoke, and fried food from corner shops. On every block, young men leaned against walls, waiting for business, their eyes darting from cops to rivals. Among them was Malik Johnson, 17 years old, tall but still carrying the thinness of a boy not yet fully grown. He wore a red hoodie, the hood drawn low, and his sneakers were scuffed from running, sometimes for fun, more often from trouble. Malik lived two lives. By day, he was just another high school dropout helping his mother with groceries, trying to keep his little sister, Nia, safe from the streets. By night, he hovered dangerously close to the world that swallowed his father years ago, the world of gangs, drugs, and quick money. His best friend Jamal Carter had already joined the Red Vipers, a local gang that controlled 2 blocks near 105th Street. Jamal always flashed new sneakers, fat stacks of bills, and gold chains that glittered under the streetlights. Malik envied him, but he also feared him. "Yo, Malik," Jamal called one night, leaning against a blacked-out Chevy parked near the bodega. "You gonna stand there all your life, or you ready to make some real cash?" Malik shifted uneasily. "You know my mom don't want me in that stuff, man." Jamal smiled. "Your mom's still scrubbing floors at that hotel, right? While the landlord breathing down her neck. Listen, bro, the world don't care about you unless you take what's yours. The Vipers look out for their own." Malik glanced back at his building. The paint was peeling, the elevator broken again, and the stench of urine filled the stairwells. Upstairs, his mother worked double shifts just to keep the lights on, while Nia sat alone with homework under a dim bulb. That was the weight on Malik's chest, a family chained by poverty. "First job's easy," Jamal pressed. "No guns, just a delivery. You ride your bike, drop off a package, get 200 cash. That's more than your mom makes in 2 days. $200. Malik's stomach tightened. He thought of his sister's torn sneakers, his mother's unpaid bills. Temptation was a knife, sharp and shining. He nodded slowly. "All right, one job." "That's it," Jamal grinned, clapping him on the shoulder. "That's my boy. One job is all it takes to see how sweet the game really is." The next night, Malik found himself pedaling down Amsterdam Avenue with a small backpack strapped tight. The package inside rattled faintly. Pills, maybe, or powder. He didn't ask. The city buzzed around him. Neon lights, honking taxis, crowds spilling from bars. His heart pounded so hard he thought people could hear it. At the corner of 105th Street, he spotted the man waiting. Bald head, leather jacket, face scarred from an old fight. Malik slowed, hands trembling. "You Malik?" the man asked in a gravel voice. "Why, yeah, give it here." Malik swung the backpack off his shoulders and handed it over. The man opened it, checked inside, then zipped it closed. He tossed Malik a wad of cash thick enough to choke a wallet. "Welcome to the game, kid." The man disappeared into the night. Malik stood frozen, staring at the money in his hand. $200, crisp bills, more than he had ever held at once. When he returned home, his mother was asleep, her body curled in exhaustion on the couch. Malik quietly placed $80 on the kitchen counter for groceries and hid the rest under his mattress. His chest swelled with pride, but his stomach churned with guilt. That night, he dreamed of his father, a man he barely remembered, who had vanished into prison when Malik was just a boy. In the dream, his father's voice echoed, "The streets don't love you, son. They only eat you alive." Malik woke in a sweat. But the next morning, Jamal was already calling. "Easy money, right? I told you. You ready for the next one?" Malik hesitated, staring at his sleeping sister. Then he whispered into the phone, "Yeah, I'm ready." That was the first step. A single job. A single choice. And it was the beginning of a path Malik would never be able to turn away from. The city felt different when you had money in your pocket. Malik walked down the block in his scuffed sneakers, but now his hands rested in the pockets of his red hoodie, his fingers brushing against folded bills. The weight of the cash gave him a strange new confidence, as if the broken sidewalks belonged to him. Kids who once laughed at his torn clothes looked twice. Shopkeepers nodded instead of ignoring him. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make Malik feel something he had never felt before: power. Jamal noticed it too. "See?" he said as they sat on the stoop outside the corner store, cans of soda sweating in their hands. "You ain't stressing about no bills, no sneakers, nothing. All it takes is one decision, Malik. Now you're on your way." Malik sipped quietly, unsure whether to feel proud or ashamed. But Jamal wasn't done. "Tonight, we're hitting up Rico's. He's got a shipment coming in, and the boss wants us there. You just watch and learn. No pressure." "Shipment?" Malik frowned. Jamal grinned. "Relax. You're not doing anything crazy, just standing with the crew, showing face. You do that, the Red Vipers know you're loyal." Malik hesitated. His chest tightened with the same unease he'd felt before his first delivery, but the memory of the cash under his mattress pushed the doubt aside. "All right," he said. "I'll come." That night, Malik found himself in a dimly lit warehouse by the river. Rusted metal walls echoed with the shouts and laughter of men. Cigarette smoke hung thick in the air, and the floor was littered with broken bottles. At the center stood Rico, the leader of the Red Vipers, tall, heavy-set, with tattoos snaking up his neck, and a gold watch flashing under the harsh lights. His presence filled the room like a storm cloud. Malik tried not to stare, but Rico's eyes found him anyway. "This the new kid?" Rico's voice was deep, almost amused. Jamal clapped Malik on the back. "Yeah, this is Malik." He handled his first run smooth. Rico stepped closer, his gaze sharp. He circled Malik like a predator testing prey. "You hungry, kid?" Malik swallowed. "Yeah." "You loyal?" "Yes." Rico smirked. "Good. Loyalty's worth more than money. You stick with us, you'll eat. You cross us, you disappear." The men around them laughed darkly, but Malik kept his eyes forward, heart hammering. Rico handed him a small pistol, cold and heavy. "Hold it." Malik froze, staring at the weapon. His hands trembled as he took it, the metal weighing down his palm like a stone. "Don't worry," Rico said, grinning. "You won't need to use it tonight, but sooner or later, every man has to pull the trigger." Hours passed as boxes were loaded into trucks. Boxes Malik knew held drugs worth more than his family would ever see. The crew joked, smoked and argued, but Malik barely heard them. His eyes kept returning to the gun. By the time the job was done, the trucks rolled out, engines rumbling into the night. Rico slapped Malik on the shoulder. "Good first night. You didn't run. That's more than I can say for most kids." Malik forced a smile, though his stomach was in knots. As they left the warehouse, Jamal grinned wide. "You see that? Rico respects you now. Keep this up, and you'll be rolling in cash. Cars, clothes, whatever you want." Malik nodded, though his thoughts drifted back home, back to his mother scrubbing floors, his sister doing homework under dim light. He thought of how proud they would be if he brought home new shoes, groceries, maybe even rent money. For the first time, Malik believed the streets might actually offer him a way out. But that night, as he hid the pistol under his mattress beside the cash, the dream of escape blurred into something darker. Because once you held a gun, once you tasted power, the streets didn't just let you walk away, they claimed you. The days blurred together after the warehouse run. Malik tried to keep life normal at home, helping his mother carry groceries, checking Mia's homework, sitting with her when she fell asleep on the couch. But his nights were swallowed by the streets. Each evening, Jamal came knocking, dragging him deeper into the Viper's world. The money piled up. Malik bought new sneakers for Nia, paid off the overdue light bill, without his mother knowing, and even replaced the broken toaster in the kitchen. For the first time, he felt like the man of the house. But with each delivery, each meeting, each whispered conversation in dark alleys, Malik's conscience grew heavier. He hadn't pulled a trigger yet, but he knew that day was coming. One Saturday night, the air was thick with summer heat, the kind that made tempers short and patience thin. Jamal showed up grinning, gold chain swinging on his chest. "Yo, Malik," he said, "Rico wants us on watch duty tonight. Just standing guard. Easy stuff." "Guard for what?" Malik asked. "Word is, the Iron Fangs are sniffing around." They think they can take our corner. Rico wants us ready, just in case. Malik's stomach tightened. The Iron Fangs, ruthless, rival crew from across the river. He'd heard stories drive-by shootings, bodies dumped in alleys, families torn apart, but Jamal was already walking, and Malik followed. The corner of 45th Street was alive that night. Music boomed from passing cars, kids played dice on the sidewalk, and vipers leaned against lampposts, flashing red bandanas. Malik stood among them, his hoodie up, the pistol heavy in his pocket. Rico's voice carried through the crowd, "Keep your eyes open." The fangs moved quiet, but not quiet enough. Hours passed. The city pulsed with noise, but underneath, Malik felt the tension, awaiting silence, like a storm about to break. Then it happened. A black SUV rolled slow down the block, windows tinted, bass rumbling through the air. The music cut off suddenly, replaced by the sharp crack of gunfire. Bullets shattered glass, tore through walls, and sent people screaming in every direction. Malik dove behind a parked car, heart slamming against his ribs. "Fangs," someone shouted. "They're here." Vipers pulled guns, firing back wildly. Sparks lit the night, smoke filled the air, and the street became a war zone. Malik's hand clenched around his pistol. His mind screamed to stay down, to run, but Jamal was already standing, firing back with both hands, shouting curses. "Shoot, Malik," Jamal yelled. "Don't freeze now." Malik's body trembled. He raised the pistol, his eyes locking on the SUV. A face appeared in the window, a boy no older than him, bandana over his mouth, gun in hand. For a split second, their eyes met. Fear, anger, recognition. Malik pulled the trigger, the recoil jolted his arm, the sound deafened. The figure in the SUV jerked backward, disappearing into the shadows inside. The vehicle screeched away, tires burning rubber. Silence followed. Broken glass crunched underfoot. The air smelled of smoke and blood. Jamal rushed to Malik, grinning like a madman. That's how you do it, bro. First blood." He slapped Malik's back so hard it almost knocked him over, but Malik didn't hear him. His ears rang, his chest felt hollow. He looked down at his hands, still shaking, still wrapped around the pistol. He had fired a bullet into another human being. Maybe killed him, maybe not, but it didn't matter. The line had been crossed. Later that night, Malik sat alone in his bedroom. The gun lay on the mattress beside him, silent but louder than any noise in the world. His mother's soft snores came from the living room, his sister's quiet breathing from the next room. They didn't know, they couldn't know. Malik pressed his hands over his face, trying to wash the memory away. The boy's eyes, the flash of fear, the recoil of but the streets didn't care about his guilt. Rico would call again, Jamal would drag him deeper, and now Malik wasn't just a delivery boy, he was a shooter, and shooters never walked away clean. The morning after the shooting, Harlem looked the same cracked sidewalks, the same corner stores, the same kids tossing dice in alleyways. But for Malik, nothing was the same. Every step he took, he felt eyes on him, not just from neighbors, but from shadows, from the city itself. He couldn't stop hearing the echo of that gunshot, couldn't erase the image of the boy's eyes before the trigger broke the silence. At breakfast, his mother noticed the change. "You okay, Malik?" she asked, pouring coffee into her chipped mug. "You look different." "I'm fine," he muttered, pushing scrambled eggs around his plate. Noah looked up at him, concern in her 12-year-old eyes. "You never smile anymore." Malik forced a grin, but it felt hollow. He wanted to tell them everything, to confess, to beg forgiveness. But what good would that do? The streets didn't allow confession, they only demanded silence. By evening Jamal was at his door again, buzzing with energy. "Yo, Rico was impressed, man. Said you kept your cool. He wants to bring you in closer. You hear me? This is your money, respect, everything." Malik stared at him. "Respect? I almost killed someone." Jamal shrugged. "That's the game. They shoot at us, we shoot back. That's survival." "It didn't feel like survival," Malik said quietly. "It felt like." He trailed off, unable to find the words. Jamal leaned in, voice sharp. "Listen, bro, you either ride with us, or you get rolled over by the streets. You think your mom can protect you, your sister? Nah, only the Vipers can." The choice pressed down on Malik like a weight. Stay with the Vipers, sink deeper into violence, or walk away and risk becoming a target. Either path was dangerous, but only one offered a chance at redemption. That night, Malik sat on the rooftop of his building, staring at the glittering skyline of Manhattan. In the distance, the city was beautiful from afar, skyscrapers shining like stars, but up close it was rotten blood. Elena, the girl from the bodega, who sometimes gave him extra coffee when he was short on cash, found him there. "You look lost," she said, sitting beside him. "Maybe I am," Malik admitted. "You're better than this, Malik. I see it in you. You don't belong to those streets." He shook his head. "The streets don't let go. Once you're in," Elena placed a hand on his. "You still have a choice." Her words cut through the noise in his head. A choice. Not an easy one, but still a choice. The next day, Rico called a meeting. "The fangs hit us. We hit back harder," he growled. "Tonight, we take their corner. No survivors." Malik's stomach twisted. Tonight meant more bullets, more blood, maybe more eyes staring at him before going dark. As the crew loaded into cars, Malik lingered behind. Jamal noted. "Come on, bro. This is war. You're one of us now." Malik looked at him. Really looked. His best friend, the one who had dragged him into this life. Jamal's eyes burned with loyalty to the gang. Not to Malik. Not to family. Not to life. "I can't," Malik said finally. Jamal's face hardened. "If you walk away now, you ain't just quitting. You're turning your back on us. And you know what happens to traitors." Malik's hand brushed the pistol in his pocket. He thought of his mother, of Naya, of Elena's words. "You still have a choice." He dropped the gun onto the pavement. The clatter rang louder than gunfire. "I'm done." The Vipers roared off without him, engines screaming into the night. Malik stood alone on the corner, heart pounding, waiting for the bullet that might never come. But it didn't. Not that night. Instead, he walked home, each step heavier than the last, but also freer. For the first time, he felt the chains loosening. When he reached his apartment, his mother was waiting by the window. She didn't ask questions. She just hugged him, tight and trembling, as if she already knew. Malik held her close, tears burning his eyes. He hadn't escaped the streets entirely. No one ever truly did, but he had made his choice, and sometimes, that was enough. Weeks later, word spread through Harlem. The Red Vipers and Iron Fangs tore each other apart in a brutal shootout. Rico was dead. Jamal had disappeared. The corner was soaked in blood. But Malik, he was alive, working part-time at the bodega, saving what little money he could, keeping Naya in school, helping his mother breathe a little easier. Every night, when he heard sirens in the distance, he remembered the boy's eyes in that SUV. He remembered how close he had come to being swallowed whole, and he whispered a promise to himself. Never again, because he knew the truth now. The streets didn't love anyone, but you could still choose not to love them back.